and I will see all of you in another dimension. Blessings and many graces to you, beloveds. This is your group Souls Arena. We are delighted to be with you, among you, and as you on this beautiful evening. We just gave your channel the image of many sails being lifted up on a verdant sea, being lifted up by that sense of grace. And grace is one of the topics that we will be talking about on this beautiful evening. One of the things that your speakers are eager to converse with you on, the subject of grace and how the universe pays forward and is attuned to gathering grace, how grace is gathered, how grace is like an amazing giant wheel that helps move everything forward. And so, without further ado, we would love to bring forward one of your first speakers tonight. We will withdraw as a group that calls themselves the Band of Explorers, brings themselves in. And so we withdraw, and the Band of Explorers comes forward. Good evening, dear sisters, dear beloved comrades. We're giving ourselves that title, the Band of Explorers, because we are a group, an alchemical group of what you might call ascendant masters or master teachers. And we have banded together in the image of what you might call a forest that travels, a little communal group of trees, very high trees, banded together and exploring forward. We make this exploration forward for your sake and for the sake of everyone on your planet, as well as for the universe itself. We made ourselves known today while your channel was facilitating a group of practicing divine mediums. And we brought in a message that the channel allowed us to bring through her. And we would like to pick up on that message and further it and let it evolve forward for all of you. So the band of explorers that we are, and we are Master Teacher Yeshua, we are Archangel Gabriel, we are Archangel Michael, we are Master Saint Germain, we are White Eagle, we are Lady Nana, we are Kuan Yin, we are Blessed Mother, we are Minerva Athena, and we are the collective of all those who fly ahead, who scout ahead and bring back beautiful images of what the future holds. We spoke through your channel today in her class about something beautiful that is occurring, and it is a while in your earth time or in your human time. It takes about 200 years. And as we explained earlier today, it is something that in your present physicality, in your present personalities, you will not see, but your descendants and their descendants and their descendants will see it. We call it Gaza as the breadbasket that Gaza becomes, the Fertile Crescent that Gaza and Israel and India and Italy and the Sudan and Jordan and all of these countries that struggle with food insecurity, but primarily that Gaza Strip. We want you to know that what happens in the future, because of what you are calling climate change, that many rivers flow in what is now a desert, that there are many shifts that happen on your earth plane. Places that are desert-like become fertile valleys. Places that are fertile become desert. And Gaza is one of those places, beloveds, that becomes the breadbasket to the entire world. Gaza and all of its surrounding areas becomes once again a fertile crescent. It was once a fertile crescent, many, many centuries ago, many thousands of years ago. There was in this area of the world a sweetness to the topography, an ability to grow just about anything. And that ability is coming back. And what you call Gaza becomes the very place that feeds your entire planet. It becomes the breadbasket. It also becomes a breadbasket in terms of its ability to deliver the other meaning of the word bread, which, as some of you know in Aramaic, is lachma, and lachma means not only bread, but understanding. And so Gaza becomes not only the breadbasket that feeds the world in terms of bringing food to an entire planet, it becomes the breadbasket of understanding, and that it feeds the world and leads the world in loving understanding. As you may have surmised, this does not happen overnight. And as you may have surmised, this does not happen in your current lifetime. There have been leaders who have looked into the promised land and have said, I see it. I may not get there with you, but I see it. Your beloved Dr. Martin Luther King looked into the promised land. He saw a beautiful time, a time in which we are all delivered of pessimism, racism, and all the isms that plague this society. And he said, I may not get there with you, but I see it. This is what a real leader does. A leader holds the space for the vision of what is to come and acknowledges, I may not get there with you, but I see it. And of course, the most famous example of not getting to the promised land, but seeing it, is your Moses, an enormous, incredible teacher, a brave and fearless leader, an amazing soul who brought his kindred out of slavery across a river of tremendous fear and over into a place of wilderness, eventually guiding them to a place where he could see the promised land. But Moses famously could not enter that promised land. His job was to point to it and to hold the vision for it, to say, there it is. There is your promised land. There have been many interesting teachings and speculations as to why Moses could not enter the promised land after devoting his entire life, decades and decades and decades of his life, to the promise of a place of freedom. And many people have speculated that it had to do with the fact that in his youth, he had been rash and impulsive, and he had killed an Egyptian in a fit of rage, and then buried the Egyptian's body in the sand, hoping against hope that his crime would be covered up and that he would escape without anybody knowing that he had committed murder. And yet, he did not escape that. It was known. Not only did the spirit of loving compassion know, but there were witnesses who saw him do this. And he carried this with him in his consciousness as a thorn in his side, as a shadow within him. He carried that with him and worked and worked and worked to become one with this aspect of him, this part of him, this shadow self, to move in such a way so that he not only, towards the end of his life, was able to ask that man for forgiveness, but that he was also able to forgive himself. And yet it was that very shadow within him that made him the incredible leader that he was and that he remains today. Beloveds, do you understand that you are Moses? Do you understand the task at hand? Do you understand that your job is to hold the focus for the promise of a new earth, of a new world, of a loving, kind, compassionate world, a world in which what was formerly a battleground, a place of starvation and suffering, that is the very place that becomes the breadbasket. Do you understand that that is part of your mission, your ministry, that you have been entrusted to hold space for that in your heart and point forward, knowing that you may not get there in your physicality or in your personality, but others will. Beloveds, do you understand the other aspect of what it means to be Moses? That all of you are being tasked with being a leader that works on your shadow self. Oh, this is so necessary. Whether we like to admit it or not, and we will say we in this moment, lest you think that we are only talking of you, only talking of humans who are in their third dimensional bodies on the earth plane now. No, we are talking of all of us. For all of us, dear sisters, whether we like to admit it or not, all of us have killed All of us have been rash and impulsive. All of us have had tempers. All of us have had that moment in our lives when, like Moses, we impulsively killed and tried to bury it in the sand. Now, it may not have been a physical killing, but we may have killed somebody's spirit. We may have killed an idea. We may have not allowed peace to blossom. There are many ways, you see, in which we have killed. And again, beloveds, the master teachers that are here, we are talking of ourselves also. You may not want to always know this about us, but we have had so many earth lifetimes, and we have missed the mark so many times. And we also have killed. And we also have had to beg forgiveness. And we also have had to forgive ourselves. We talk to you on this evening of this collective task of recognizing that we have all killed, that we have all been that part of Moses and tried to bury that in the sand. And that as we, as a collective, work on our shadow self, that which we have killed or tried to kill now is rising up to face us. This is the chaos that you are living in now. It is a mirror of that which has been buried, that which has come up to be healed. And so when you look out on the world and you see patterns of genocide, and you see acts of violence, and you are troubled, as well you should be, the next step in your work as Moses teachers, as leaders into the promised land, is to say, I too have killed, and I ask forgiveness, and I am ready now to forgive myself. This is what makes you a leader, you see. This is what makes you a Moses. This is what puts you in the position that you are in, that we all are in right now on this planet. This is why you are, all of you, in what we would call pivotal assignments, holding space for a Gaza that is a breadbasket, a place of loving, compassionate understanding, as well as a place that feeds the world, and holding space for your own shadow work at the same time. We don't get there quickly. We don't get there tomorrow. But we do get there. And you know, beloveds, you've been around for eons. You know that in terms of fourth dimensional consciousness, 200 years, that's a blink of an eye. 200 years, well, that's a shift of the head from one side to the other. 200 years, well, that's really as nothing compared to the incredible length of time that we all have been toiling together, refining our energies. Truly, it has been billions and billions and billions of years in the making. I think we can wait 200 years. In the meantime, do know that your work is not in vain. There is much in the short run that bears beautiful, precious, and yes, low-hanging fruit. And we are going to introduce our next band of speakers to talk to you not about the next 200 years, but about the next 10 years and what evolves and what is fruitful for you and for those around you in the next 10 years. And this is your group Souls Arena. And we would like to thank the pioneering band bringing to us this image, this vision of a world that is rested and fruitful, a world that is beautifully, wondrously fed, not only with bread, but with living bread, with loving, divine compassion. We are so grateful. The beautiful Lady Nada would like to come forward and speak to you in prophecy about the next 10 years. And so we withdraw and allow herself, our Lady Nada, to come forward. Oh, my beautiful children, I am so delighted to be here with you. As I gather in your energy, I am put in remembrance of a very long time ago when I knew all of you in a different culture, a different custom, a different land, and when a time in which we were using the snake as a beautiful symbol of wisdom. Indeed, the snake has for a very long time been a beautiful healing epitaph, has it not? Moses himself used a snake at one point, a snake upon a staff. And we tonight are going to talk about how we once again can use that beautiful snake, that very old divine wisdom, to enable us to spin forward over the next decade, because we certainly want you to know that there are many things ahead that are fruitful. One of the things that we learned eons ago when we were holding snakes and when we were what many of you call a goddess religion, and there are depictions of us holding snakes and being with snakes. What we learned in that time was what forgiveness is about. And we learned this from the snake. We learned how to shed our skin, how to shed blame or resentment, how to let go by truly shedding our skin. And that is the definition of forgiveness I would like for us all to consider tonight, a definition of forgiveness that allows us to see rather quickly over the next 10 years fruitfulness coming into many of your spheres. And of course, this is connected to the shadow work that we are all encouraged to do. And so I would have you consider that forgiveness is indeed a shedding of a skin. If you will consider for a moment that you are all reptilian in the sense that you are like snakes, and that you all have a skin that is not meant to be held onto. It is not meant to carry you throughout this lifetime. It is, in fact, a skin that is meant, that is designed to be shed in just the same way that a snake sheds her skin. Well, beloveds, we are designed to shed our skin. And now, if you will join with me, I am holding hands with you, and perhaps you can feel that current of energy moving around here in our beautiful, loving circle. And what I am encouraging us all to do is to think about the last 7 years. So we go back in time, 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019. This is the year that we are in, 2019. And while you may not know exactly the specifics of what kind of skin you were beginning to develop in 2019, you will know that you began something, that something in you began to develop and grow from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 to 2022 to 2023 to 2024 to 2025. And now this particular skin is ready to be shed. Is it premature? I hear some of you asking. Does it ruin my chances of what I think my future is that I'm planning on? Is it too soon to shed this skin? I assure you, you are more than ready to shed this skin. But this is the skin of worry, of doubt, and of speculation. This is the skin of wondering what will happen next. And bound up in this skin is the skin of holding resentment. Resentment against yourselves and against others, against your government, against viruses, against illness, against poverty, against climate change. There are many, many reasons why in this particular skin you may have developed some resentments. Resentments of political figures. Ah, yes, that is surely there too. As you think back over the last 7 years, begin to notice that you really truly are ready to let this skin go. That you really truly are ready to leave off speculation and wonder about how we will survive. That you really are ready to let go of pretending that you are in charge of this entire planet, that you know that you are in charge of your own marvelous resources, and that is enough. I'm ready to work with you on this. I'm ready to affirm with you that the skin that binds you around your feet is now lifting, and that the former understanding is now translating into a new understanding. I'm ready to work with you and to affirm with you that the skin that would bind your knees in a recalcitrance, a sense of, I dare not move forward, a sense of, I will stubbornly hang on to this resentment, or I will hang on to being right. I am working with you. And together as one heart and one mind, as your channel says, we are letting that skin go. And now our knees are remarkably new and free. And I am working with you as we let go of any sense in the very core of our being, right down in our root chakra, that we somehow are not entitled to be a part of this earth and all that grows here, all of her marvelous fertility. I am ready to work with you and to affirm that that skin that would keep us all separate from the very core of this planet, that skin is being released. And now we have a brand new root chakra, a root chakra effortlessly combined with the core of this planet. And so now we all have that remembrance and that shining knowing that, yes, we deserve to be fertile. We deserve to be abundant. We deserve not only to survive, but we deserve to thrive. All of this in our new skin. I am with you as we are in the skin that surrounds the heart chakra, in the places in our hearts where we use expressions like once burned, twice shy, where we are using defensive gestures to keep us separate from that which we are afraid will hurt us or imprison us. As we are working together, we are noticing that those old defenses are now loosening, falling away from us like old skin. And we have a new heart logic, a heart logic that assumes that we are always safe because we are always love. And I am with you in your beautiful throat chakra, in the skin that bound you there and kept us all from speaking words of freedom, of truth, of light, of love, of hope, of healing, of loveliness everlasting. Now that skin is falling away. And our voices are manifesting agents, beautifully connected to the root of our being, to this beautiful, fertile root of this beautiful Mother Earth. Now our voices grow a new skin, a new elasticity is here, and we give ourselves permission to always speak of that which is lovely and beautiful and true and magnificent and light filled and forward. We give ourselves permission to speak of the breadbasket that is Gaza, not only a breadbasket that feeds a hungry mouth, but that feeds a hungry soul. We are ready now because we have new skin that has thrown off cynicism and thrown off the desire to fit in with every pessimist and every cynic who would have us bow down before that God of cynicism and worship it. This new skin says, I cannot do that. I can only give my voice to that which is radiantly true. I speak love. This is our new skin. This is forgiveness. And now we come up to the top, very top of our heads, our crown chakras. A place where we have been working, haven't we? for quite some time. And here we allow the old skin of forgetfulness that we absolutely are one with an entire musical, orchestrated universe, that we let that old skin of forgetfulness go. And now we feel into our new skin, that elastic, beautiful, freeing skin, a skin that is able to move easily into the fourth dimension, easily into the fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth and ninth and 10th and 11th, and so forth and so on. And this is the meaning of forgiveness. This is what forgiveness feels like. It feels like shedding anything that would have bound us to an old limiting way of feeling and being and walking and talking. And now breathing new air and new life. Forgiveness is that new way of being. And we have done this together, you and I. We have forgiven. We have provided forgiveness. And my beloveds, I want to talk to you now about the fruitfulness of this forgiveness and what it means in terms of grace and what it means in terms of paying forward. This kind of forgiveness, which is deep, which is alchemical, which heals us down to the very marrow of our being. This kind of forgiveness is what allows the grace of the universe to fill our sails with divine remembrance and move us forward over the choppy water so that we can hold not only ourselves, but everyone around us up and afloat. If we will commit ourselves to continuously forgiving, so that grace, that forward movement of the universe, grace, which is a love that says, I do not need you to love me. I do not love back. I love forward. Grace, which is not quid pro quo. Grace, which is not an energy that pays back. Grace, which is a momentum that pays forward, that moves forward. Grace that does not care about our history. It notices only that we have forgiven. Grace that is the mantle of true leadership, your grace that enables each of you to be true leaders, moving forward, a grace that moves us forward. And in the next 10 years, beloved, as you and more of us engage in this rhythm of paying forward, of doing what Patty does, of taking beautiful energy and paying forward with it, of dropping pebbles of joy in the stream, as more and more of you do this, over the next 10 years, you will see ready fruit. Fruits that formerly looked like the fruits of injustice will become suddenly transparent. A transparency will come in over the next 10 years that makes it much easier for the citizens of your country to vote and to take care of themselves. This is one of the fruits of forgiveness and grace, this transparency. This is not something that just I am promising you so that you feel better, so that you don't think you have to wait 200 years for Gaza to become a breadbasket. It isn't just from my lens, beloveds. This is something that in the divine collective we are all feeling and all noticing and all getting ready for. Know that what we are getting ready for is transparency, the fruit of transparency, which is coming and coming soon. And all we ask of you is that you continue the work of forgiveness and shedding of skin and letting go of anything that would persuade you that you are somehow separate from each other or separate from the universe or separate from your shadow. And so this will be a fruitful time. We will not see the breadbasket in Gaza at the end of 10 years, but we will see transparency. And in that transparency will come a beautiful shift for your country and for many others that will gradually, decade by decade, translate over time, over 200 years, into a breadbasket in Gaza. And so you have an amazing job, do you not? And you have a beautiful task. And I hope you can see the blackboard in the classroom before you. Can you see what you have written there? I will forgive 70 times 7. I will continuously forgive. I will never stop forgiving. As forgiveness is unlimited, so am I. I know that you are writing this on your blackboard, and I am so pleased that you are. As I have spoken those words, a very familiar master teacher has come forward. I think you know who this is. The Zarina consciousness is telling me, go ahead. It's his time to speak. So I will step aside as your beloved Yeshua comes forward. Thank you, Lady Nada. And yes, I was part of that pioneering band, and now I am quite honored to speak to you from my own lens. Well, as soon as she said 70 times 70, I said, oh, that's my cue. That's my teaching. Now, to be honest and to be fair, I had learned that teaching from other people, other teachers of mine who had indelibly impressed upon me the knowing that forgiveness was not something you did once or twice or 7 times, as my dear friend Peter was hoping. Can I just do it 7 times and then it's done? You notice in that story how he tried so hard to wriggle out of indefinite forgiveness. He so desperately wanted it to be a one and done, a one off. He so wanted to live in a universe that is not a universe that pays forward, but a universe that pays back. That was his universe, and that's what he was used to at that time. And when I told him, no, not just 7 times and not just 7 times 7 times, but 70 times 7. He knew, and I could see it in his eyes, that he understood that he had to forgive infinitely because forgiveness is unlimited. Because you cannot quantify forgiveness, can you, beloveds? You cannot say, I've forgiven No, it's something that we continuously do. I'm still working on that. Did you know that? Are you surprised to hear me say that? Oh, please, beloveds, remember, I was a human being. I walked on your planet. I was thirsty. I suffered. I grew angry sometimes. And yes, I performed many miracles. And yes, I taught inspired by the source of creation itself. Yes, all of that is true. But still, I am working on forgiveness. And lately, I am working on forgiveness, not of those who put nails in my hands and feet all those many years ago, but of those who continue to do that in your present day, those who continue to crucify me, those who continue to want to harm an innocent. And so I am always practicing forgiveness. I am always bowing down and humbly working with it. And perhaps it might help you to know that if I am always practicing it, working with it, why then, beloveds, and I say this winking at you, so can you. Oh, bless your hearts. You're hearing that in such a sweet way, and I bless you for that. You truly are wonderful human beings. I also wanted to talk to you on this evening, not only about the unlimited nature of forgiveness and how that does open the door to grace. I also wanted to talk to you about the times that you are living in, and not to worry that these are not the end times. When I walked on the planet, I spoke of the time that you are in, of earthquake and flood and plague and wars and rumor of wars. And while there have been many times that bore resemblance to those prophecies that I brought in, your time, this time is the time I was speaking of. But I want you to know that these are not the end times. These truly are the beginning times. And as Lady Nada was gracefully bringing you through that beautiful meditation, drawing up from the visage of a snake and shedding your skin, that this is the end of a time of recrimination on this planet and the beginning of a new time. I think many of you already understand that, and I'm grateful to you for that. But I am also asking you to pick the prophecy up and navigate forward with it so that you are able to see past the precipice of what many of you are labeling extinction or catastrophe. And while it is true that, yes, your planet is shifting, and yes, climate change is happening. Yes, these things are quite real. And yes, there are whole populations that are starving. And yes, there are wars and rumors of wars. All of this is true. But just looking at climate change, what I want you to prophesy with me and stand with me and look forward with me is a visage of a planet that is changed but not destroyed, not annihilated, of a human race that is definitely bruised but not destroyed, alchemized and risen. Stand with me and look at deserts that in a couple hundred years become fertile places. And stand with me and look at fertile places that become deserts. Stand with me and know that there are coming great shifts to your planet, but they do not mean the end of life here. They do not foretell that. What they foretell is evolution, brand new ways of coping. And yes, the breadbasket in my homeland in Palestine and specifically in Gaza. Yes. So this idea of climate change as catastrophe and extinction is something I am asking you to use your beautiful eyes of discernment and look through, pierce through that veil and see what we are seeing. Because we are seeing a triumph of a much changed landscape. There will be topographies that you do not recognize. Of course, beloveds, you'll be in the fourth dimension, but there will be topographies that you will wonder, well, where did that place go? And what's that new land mass? And how did that desert become so fertile? And what happened to that fertile place? That's the sort of thing I'm asking you to consider and to hold in your prophecy so that you are the anchors that say, these are not the end times. These are the beginning times of our evolution, our movement forward. And again, what is it that encourages evolution? My beloveds, it is forgiveness. What else but forgiveness? What else but the shedding of that skin that allows love to pour forward like a mighty river of grace, lifting consciousness, reminding everyone that we are supplied our every need. What else but forgiveness is what allows a crucifixion to become a resurrection? What else but forgiveness? And so forgiveness is key, is it not? And I am asking you, each and every one of you, to take it upon yourselves to think of people in your private life, in your personal life, that it is time to let go and let free from prison and forgive. Public figures come here. Make sure, beloveds, that you are living up to what it means to be a true leader in your time. Forgive. Thank you. And shalom. This is your Group Souls Arena. We want to thank everybody who's come in so far. What a pleasant and pleasurable experience it is to be the recipient of this beautiful teaching. We have one more personage who has been knocking all day long and would like to come in. And so we are going to withdraw and allow this next person to introduce himself. We withdraw. Good evening, fellow students. When I walked upon your planet, my name was Tiberius Gracchus. I was a member of the Roman Senate. And I did something that many of my other senators found reprehensible. I made plans to move money through the populace so that people who did not have a lot of money could fund themselves and become small farmers and engage in growing crops, not only taking care of themselves, but taking care of those around them and making a beautiful, viable living. I brought forward laws that took money that was supposed to go to other projects, such as building edifices, and I convinced my fellow senators to move it back to the people. And this was a very successful program. It worked. We got so many of our folks, what other people called peasants or day laborers or even slaves, we got them gainfully employed with their own land, their own farmland. We helped them. We gave them money to get started. It is, the modern equivalent of what you call welfare or your social security system or all the other beautiful safety nets that your democracy has seen fit to bring in. I want you to know that there are many like me who were alive during this time in the beginnings of what you call your common era. That there were many who remembered this time as a time of tremendous success, that it was a public work program and it worked, a public grant program and it worked. It was a kind of social security, a kind of welfare, and it worked. It was a safety net, and it worked. Many people disagreed with me. I made many enemies in the Senate, and I know you may see parallels to where you are today with that idea of creating social networks, safety networks that come from the government, that are a gift from the government, that enable your citizens to be able to take care of themselves, have full livelihoods, go to work, have land grants, this sort of thing. I want you to know that there is a group of us that are coming back to your Senate from my time as a senator in the Roman Senate. So these are folks who were around 2,000 years ago who are getting ready to come back. You may notice that people are calling these folks socialists. Maybe sometimes they call them communists. I ask that you not worry about the label, but you feel into the energy here of seeing that government is capable of helping people to help themselves and creating a safety network, a social network that benefits one and all. I know that you have been hearing this evening many beautiful spiritual ideas, and they are all tremendous, and I agree with absolutely every one of them. I also wanted to give you hope about the next 10 years, about a fruitfulness that is coming in that has to do with a return to the idea of a government that helps. I guarantee it, as someone who first did this 2,000 years ago, and now I've got all my friends with me. I've got so many friends with me, and many of them will belong to what you call your Republican Party. Take hope, my dears. Take hope. That social network is coming back. And this is your group Souls Arena. We wanted to thank Tiberius Gracchus for bringing in that last message. We are grateful for all messages that we have received on this beautiful evening. All of the precious fruit of the Spirit, the grapes of the vine, which we now digest within us. We affirm as one heart and one mind that with peace in our hearts and a sense of joy moving forward, that we are here in the right place, that we are beautifully adept to be the leaders of our time by engaging in acts of forgiveness, not once, not twice, but an indefinite number of times. We affirm that there are aspects of the promised land that we may not see in this lifetime, but we will surely experience from another dimension and watch joyfully as that breadbasket in Gaza unfolds. We affirm that we are surrounded by loving, light-filled beings who work with us and serve with us and walk with us and do shadow work with us, that we are none of us alone in this beautiful, bountiful universe. And as we begin to think of how we will come forward with all the fruits of spirit that we have gathered tonight, we allow ourselves to feel our feet upon the ground. We allow ourselves to feel our hands. We remember that our eyelashes have been counted by the power of love that we are, and that the hairs on our head are also wondrously and lovingly counted. We remember that we are precious, that we are loved beyond compare, that we are held in a way that is nurturing and supportive and also challenging, in the sense that we are being encouraged to walk as the very best selves that we know we can be. We graciously accept that we are the ones who are called to leadership, and we hold that space of forgiveness as something that is constant and ongoing and wondrously fruitful. And as you bring yourselves forward, you may hear within you a deep, resonant amen and amen. And once again, amen. Namaste.